Welcome back. In the first two videos, we talked about what it means to be similar and the shape that our angles are going to be congruent and our sides are going to be proportional, equal ratios or equal fractions. And we looked at determining whether something is similar or not, and then using the proportions to find scale factors. And then in the second video, we actually did this example where we found a scale factor and used it to find a missing side. Okay? So in this example that we're going to do, they tell me my two hexagons are similar, and then I want to find the scale factor, I'm going to find some side lengths, and I'm going to find some angles. Okay? So the first thing that I want to do is I want to find my scale factor. Okay? So when I'm looking at hexagon ABCD is similar to hexagon GHIJKL, my order is going to be super important to make sure that I'm lining up things that match, because it's real tempting to say that we talked at the end of the last video that, well, it's tempting to kind of try to put these two together, 12 and 12, but that wouldn't make sense if this one's smaller, but yet these were the same. And then it's tempting to say the FE matches with the HG because they're in the same position on the picture, but my FE are my last two letters and my GH are my first two letters. So these are not corresponding sides. To find the scale factor, I have to put together corresponding sides. So when I look over here, I can see that AB matches with GH, and we want to make sure that we get the correct thing on the top and the correct thing on the bottom. So when I look here, I'm doing ABCDEF2 GHIJKL, so that means ABCDEF has to go in my numerator every time, and the other one's going to go in the denominator every time. And again, I like to do these triangles so that way halfway through the problem, by the time I get to number 3, I don't start putting them in the wrong order. Okay? Alright, so now that I know what order I'm putting them in, I'm going to continue going. AB is 12. And then it's going to match with GH. GH is 9. Okay, so AB actually matches with GH. So those two are corresponding pieces, 12 to 9. And when I reduce 12 to 9, I'm going to get 4 thirds, because 4 goes into 12 3 times and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So when I reduce by thirds, I end up with 4 thirds. Okay, so that is my scale factor, which a lot of times I just abbreviate SF, scale factor. Okay, so now that I know my scale factor, I can go on to number 2 and find how far is it from L to K. So L to K is here. I'm going to be trying to find this length, which means I need to know what does LK correspond with. So LK are my last two letters, so that corresponds with my last two letters, FE. FE is right here, the 16. Okay, so these two correspond to each other. Now, this is when my arrows come in handy, because I remember what needs to go on the top and what needs to go on the bottom. I know that the 16 is going to go on the top, and I know that the LK is going to go on the bottom. And you can change this to an X if you just want to use like a single variable. Okay? This is going to reduce to the exact same thing that my 12/9 reduced to the scale factor 4 thirds. And then this I can cross multiply and solve. So I'm going to do 4 times LK equals 3 times 16. Okay, so when I simplify this, I'm going to get 4 times LK equals 3 times 16, which is 48. I want to know how long LK is, so I'm just going to divide both sides by 4. And I'm going to get that LK equals 48 divided by 4 is 12. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Let's find CD. So to find CD, the first thing I'm going to do is see where it is. So here's CD. I'm going to outline it in blue. And then see what does it match with. So CD, right here, are my third and fourth letter. So 1, 2, 3, 4. My third and fourth letter are I, J. So that's going to be this one here. I'm going to highlight that in blue so I can see what matches. Okay? So now we need to decide what goes in the top and what goes in the bottom. So CD is going to go in the top. And IJ, my 12, is going to go in the bottom. And I know when I reduce this fraction, it's going to reduce to the same thing my 12/9 did, to my scale factor, 4/3. So now I'm ready to cross multiply. 3 times CD equals 4 times 12. So 3 times CD equals 4 times 12. I got a 48 again. Divide both sides by 3. And CD equals 48 divided by 3 is 16. So CD equals 16. And if I wanted to just label in my pictures, LK was 12, which makes sense, right? 12 and 12, 16 and 16, right? My blue and my pink were both 12, my blue and my pink were both 16. So that kind of makes sense. Okay? All right, let's look at number 4, the measure of angle L. It's real tempting once you're kind of going along, you get in the groove, you're like, okay, L matches with F, so L, I don't know what it is, matches with F, 95. This one goes on top, so 95 to L equals 4 to 3. But notice we're no longer looking at side lengths. Now we're looking at angles. And if I remember back from the very beginning of our notes, we said the angles are not proportional. It's just the sides that are proportional. My angles are congruent, which means they have the exact same measure from one figure to the other. If it's 90 in one, it's 90 in the other, right? So they have the exact same measure. So all I have to do to find angles is find the ones that match, okay? So angle L, I know is going to match. Angle L is my last letter, so it's going to match my last letter, F, which means angle L is equal to 95 degrees. The measure of angle L equals 95 degrees. So I always like finding angles because they're nice, because you don't have to set up the proportion. Okay, and then the last one for this section, the measure of angle J. Again, I'm going to look at where J is. J is the 1, 2, 3, 4th letter in, so it's going to match with 1, 2, 3, the 4th letter in D. So I'm looking for J. I'm going to put a double arc because it's a new angle, single arc, double arc. And it's going to match with D. So I know that angle J is going to equal 130 degrees. Okay? All right. In the next video, we're going to look at perimeters of similar polygons and see how the scale factor works with perimeter. Okay? Thank you so much for watching.